My name's David, and the chronological Bible reading for May 29th is 1 Kings 1 and 2, Psalms 37, 71, and 94. King David is coming to the end of his days, and once again we see that he is not taking care of some business at least. His son Adonijah is going around propping himself as the heir to the throne, and we are told that David is not doing anything about it. It takes Bathsheba going to the king after being prompted by Nathan the prophet and saying, "I thought you said Solomon would be your heir. Don't you see what Absalom's little brother is doing?" King David then does anoint Solomon, makes a public spectacle of it, and Adonijah and the others run for their lives, including Joab, who had been so faithful to David, even though he took matters into his own hands on a couple of occasions. There were 3 times Joab took matters into his own hands, killing somebody he should not have. First and foremost, it was Absalom, David's own son. 2 other times it was commanders of armies, one of Israel's, one of Judah's, that David had appointed. But it's not for killing Absalom, the king's own son, that he is judged in these chapters, likely because Absalom was killed during a literal time of war, while the generals were killed during peacetime under false pretenses. Joab goes to the altar, grabs onto the horns there, and refuses to leave, requiring that his life is taken from him in that holy place. If you were God, where would Joab spend eternity? It's certainly not our place to judge, but I find it very interesting. And I'm curious, what do you think? Solomon secures the throne by taking care of business. First, he pardons Adonijah until Adonijah asks to be able to marry the young woman who has been attending to the king, asking for something that we have no business asking for. Specifically, if it was likely due to the fact that we wanted to receive some notoriety, some attention, some ulterior motive. On the surface may have seemed innocent enough even to Bathsheba, but Solomon in his wisdom saw what was not being asked, and he was able to see how the public may have seen that union between Adonijah and Abishag. On one hand, we should not be motivated at all by what other people think. We need to be motivated by a fear, a reverence of who God is and what God says. And one of the aspects of respecting God, of keeping his commands, is avoiding the appearance of evil. So on one hand, we aren't to care what other people think, but on the other, we are. We should not be concerned with our reputation, but neither shall we act in such a way that it appears that we are living in sin. We should avoid the appearance of evil. And this appearance of a dichotomy, this appearance of the need to go both ways, to appease 2 different kinds of people, just reminds me that we need to be balanced in our approach to everything. There were times when Jesus was downright offensive, fashioning together a whip out of cords and going into the temple and driving people far from it, overturning the tables of the money changers, freeing the livestock and the birds of those who were selling animals for sacrifice in the temple courts, condemning them with his words and his actions, saying that they have taken his house, his father's house, and made it a den of thieves or robbers. And it's this same Jesus who says, pray for your enemies. Bless those who persecute you. To be a wise king, as Solomon was, it took lots of balance. There were moves, there were counter moves. There were times he was very congenial and gracious. There were other times where he seemed very harsh. And I'm sure as he grew up watching his own father David on the throne, there were things that he witnessed that he probably swore to himself he would not make the same mistakes, such as with Absalom. And Solomon moves swiftly to address things that need to be taken care of. David was certainly a man of his word, but it's interesting, on his deathbed, he gave Solomon a list of names of people to watch out for and people to take care of. David said, I swore that I wouldn't harm this person. I want you to take them out, Solomon. And I wonder if after his power was consolidated, after he was no longer worried about people trying to subvert his authority or take the throne from him, did he reflect on the words of his father? In 1 Kings 2, verse 2, be strong and be a man, Solomon. Maintain the obligation you have to walk in the ordinances and the commandments of Yahweh your God. Solomon, follow him with all of your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and as you do that, he will establish your throne forever. As long as you, Solomon, and all of your sons in succession after you seek God with all of their heart and fully obey all of his statutes, this realm will last forever. Unfortunately, it didn't happen that way, as we well know. And hopefully we in humility can say with full assurance, in the flesh we could do no better. May God keep us humble so that we can ever receive his grace. And may God our King establish us as we honor him, as we keep his statutes, as we remember the glory we will have with him in eternity and our need to prepare for that now in this life. May God bless you, my friends. Thank you for being on this journey with me through the Word of God in 2024. We'll see you tomorrow. And for those of you who are interested in going deeper, we'll see you live on Sunday mornings. And if any of you need prayer or desire prayer, we are now praying together on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday mornings with new days and times available as they are requested. Go to BibleInOrder.com for more information on all of that. God's peace be with you all.